Sunday afternoon and brew my cup. No UFO live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, steps and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, Debs, and rotary motion. Cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go! Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, Kepps, and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Terrestrial Material, where we talk about the material us terrestrials are interested in. How's everybody doing? I don't know how loud the music is, man. You know? It's been a while. You guys like the intro song or what? I've been trying to change it. I've been working on it. I went through maybe like, I don't know, 6 or 7 iterations of it. It's been a lot. But I've had some time, you know what I mean? That's kind of, I guess, a big point of all of this. I've had a little bit of time off, and yeah, I've tried to stay up on things as best that I could. You know, there's been a few things that have been interesting that have went on. Probably, you know, obviously all the way through May, and then, man, this music is loud for me. It's like covering up my thoughts here a little bit. I still want it, but it's there. But hello to everybody in the chat. Rotary, good to see you. Obviously, you made it into the song. Twilight, good to see you, Nick. How you doing? Jeff Garvey, you made it in the song too. I tried to add as many names that would make sense. Obviously, you can't use everybody's name, and I thought about not even doing that because of that fact. I was like, I'm going to leave somebody's name out. They're going to be pissed. And, you know, that's the way that it goes. Very low here. Okay, at least it's low for you. It's not going to go on through the whole show or anything. It's just a little bit of it's a little bit of background for like just kind of the opening that comes on here. But first things first, happy Father's Day to everybody out there. If you're a dad, if you're soon to be a dad, that's always really cool. At least that's in the US. A lot of you guys are in the UK and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's just a US holiday. I don't know. But thank you also for everybody for allowing me to take this big break that I needed. Like I said, I had a lot of personal stuff I had to get through. I'm not going to go into a lot of that right now because it's not why you guys are here. And then the other kind of housekeeping thing, the first things, is the UFOlogue contest. while I was on break, I did enter in a monologue contest on Twitter, and the link is at the top. It's pinned to the top of the chat. You guys can go click that link. I was lucky enough to get into the top 8. So yeah, that's my top 8 entry. It's like the top 8 round is the final round, and it's all about, you know, what you think has been happening in ufology, what's happening, what's going on. And the reason why I post it there is because the second round, the final round here, there is going to be like a community engagement for voting. There's still going to be like judges that are involved that dealt with the first part of the contest, but they are going to include community vote. And hey, if you do have the chance to get over there, whenever they release the, I don't know, maybe like some kind of poll system on Twitter. I don't know how that's going to look. Nobody does. But if you want to follow that link, you can follow obviously me on Twitter, and I'm going to post it when that stuff becomes live, so you can interact with it. But also UFO Talk Radio, who's sponsoring the contest, I'm sure that they're going to post it too. And when you go to that link of mine that I just posted up there at the top of the chat, that's going to have their Twitter too. So go follow them too. It's a really cool contest. I felt super obligated to enter it, you know, because if you have any kind of channel or you got any kind of voice that you want to put out there, it's a cool moment to do that. It's hard to do. It's difficult. There's a lot of really good competition. No idea where I'll land. But yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. So go check that out. Let's kill the music here, huh? Enough of this music. All right. Let me see. So, look, guys, there was so much, like I mentioned earlier, that did go on over through May. It was very hard as I kind of was like putting the show together the last couple of days. I mean, I worked on my UFOlogue contest for most of the week for that. So I kind of did the best that I could to pick the big points. So I'm going to look at mostly things through May here. Now, I am going to tie into a couple things into June only because you kind of have to, because they do tie back into May, but that's kind of the process and the flow that we're going to go through. So when we look at like the two biggest landmark things that happened in May was you had Elizondo's book, like you see the thumbnail, the Imminent book that came out. There's a little bit of a lead up to that, like a process that happened with that I thought was interesting. We'll take a little bit of a look at that. And then the other big thing that happened was this photo came out from Brandon Fugel showing Sean Kirkpatrick at a 2018 meeting that is alleged to be about Skinwalker Ranch and how, you know, there was this rumor that Kirkpatrick was running that meeting, and he had simply said that, hey, you know, we know what's going on with UFOs. Don't try to convince us. Just tell us what's going on with the ranch. And we had an update that kind of went on along with that. Stephen Greenstreet did a really interesting interview with Kirkpatrick where this kind of blew open. And so we'll take a little bit of a look at that interview with Kirkpatrick and Greenstreet. I'll give you my take on what I think is going on behind the scenes with Fugel and this entire process with Kirkpatrick. And then obviously we want to start with Elizondo's book. Now, the rest of the things that we're going to go over, there were a few things that were interesting with Congress. We had a couple announcements that came out. There's not a lot of detail. There's the best way kind of to describe Congress, in my opinion, that's been happening the last month or so is we have all these little narratives that are out and about, right? And we get these little updates, these minutia updates, and they're just kind of littered all over the place. So I picked a couple that I thought were the most important that we can kind of gloss over. And I think that'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a recap if you haven't been following along too much with what's been going on lately with Congress in the last month or so. And then what was the other thing? Good Lord, guys, if you only seen how many notes I had here. There's no way I'm going to be able to get to all this stuff today, by the way, either. There's just no way. I tried to put as much as I could. What was the last thing I wanted to at least make a mention of? I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me at some point as we're going down the way here on it. But let's start with the top. Let's get on over to the monitor, the big screen, the full browser, and we'll start kind of going over this book and what's been going on with Louie. Look at Lou. Dude, last preface, I promise you. These shows, I try to keep them to an hour if there's anybody that's new here. However, if we go over today a little bit, like I said, I'm trying to compact it for you, but I want to give you the detail that I think is most important. So maybe an hour and a half. We'll see where we're at as time continues to progress here. So on May 10th, as you guys can see here, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Some things never change, huh? You guys remember me dealing with the zoom in process? It's crazy to be back here doing this again, man, after it's been, 6 weeks or so, maybe 7 weeks at this point. So here we go. Bryan, Massachusetts. I don't know him. I don't know this guy. He's probably a nice guy. But he made this post here where he's showing, check him out, Matt Laszlo, Lou Elizondo, hanging out in a bar, getting some drinks. Lou looks like he can pound some, huh? He can really put some drinks down. I bet you he can drink. And that is more than apple juice. Come on, Lou. We know you have a beer. But anyway, and then there's also a picture here, and this is in DC, by the way. This is in DC. You got a picture of Elizondo and James Fox. How about that, man? The gang's all here. So what was significant about this is this came out, May 10th, maybe 6 days before a big release, right? It was about 6 days before Elizondo started making these very interesting claims about his life and whether or not it's in jeopardy, whether or not, he would take his own life and all these things, all these disclaimers he put out. And so it was interesting because he started to kind of make his rounds, as you can see. And this kind of raised questions. This kind of got everybody interested in where's Lou going to go next, right? Like what's coming next for Lou. And then 6 days later, I won't read this entire thing because it's quite lengthy, but I did grab the important part. So Lou's out partying it up. And then 6 days later on the Matt Ford, The Good Trouble Show, Lou Elizondo makes this big statement. And this is the statement that is the big important one. Let me make sure you guys can see this here. Okay. So to add insult to injury, this is what Lou says. This is the statement that he puts out on Matt Ford's Good Trouble Show. All right. To add insult to injury, I was notified yesterday there may be a personal threat against myself and several other whistleblowers formerly associated with the UAP effort for the U.S. government. As such, I would like to make this perfectly clear to the American people. I am not prone to accidents. I don't know if we can say that word on YouTube or whatever. He's not going to unalive himself. I'm not abusing drugs. I am not engaged in any illicit activities. If something happens to me or my family members in the future, you will know what happened. Okay. So this was a crazy point of not only contention, but it started to kind of bring out this chain reaction of multiple people, which is interesting because we showed the picture of Lou and James Fox in that same photo there recently, May 10th. A lot of people started claiming things like this, like, hey, I'm in danger, or there's threats that are coming out against me. And I think James Fox even said that he felt like he would be out of the inner circle. That was kind of like his threat. So this started this kind of chain reaction of things that went on. So a lot of people like me had looked at this and thought to myself, well, look, Elizondo's probably had threats in the past, without a doubt, right? Sure he has. No issue with that there. But we had started to hear so many rumors over the month prior to that this book was coming. Imminent was the title of the book. So the speculation kind of started to fly around of, is this, performance for his book? Is this real threats? Is the timing not linked together? And where I landed on it is I figured, yeah, this is probably marketing for his book. But other people, your mileage may vary on that. What sold this to me that this was marketing for his book is that when we look at, what am I looking at here? Oh, that's the wrong piece. That's the wrong image. We got to come back to this image though. This image is important. That one's good. Let me see. Oh, there's Lou. Okay. Is on the 21st, okay, 5 days later, and give me a little room, guys, on shifting this stuff around. It's my first show back in a little bit, so I'm kind of trying to get back in the flow of this again. This comes out, okay? This pops out, and it's not going to let me read this all the way on the same screen. So it says, this is from Lou Elizondo 5 days later. It is my honor and duty to share this information with you now. My new book, Imminent, Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs, will be published by William Morrow in August 2024. This is the weird thing about this book. If you guys have watched my channel at all the last couple of months, I've been following along with this book. And I've kind of made predictions about the book, what I think was going to happen with it. And then I've also followed around with the publisher, because when a lot of these rumors come out, for me, I want to get down to the bare bones of who's really involved, right? And so initially, John Greenwald reported that the book was going to be put under, I think HarperCollins was the initial publisher. And then that had changed to John Blake. And John Blake is a publisher out of the UK. Now we're getting William Morrow. This publisher has switched so many damn times. And I still don't know, like, if that's something that's normal with these books and it shifts around like that a lot. But there was a lot of contention over that. And I had made a mention about this quickly to Green Street that the John Blake situation was incorrect. And then he said, no, he said, no, the John Blake is correct. Show your proof. Long story short, HarperCollins is obviously someone you can get the book from, but the main publisher is William Morrow. So the whole moral of the story is here. It's interesting to see how much this has changed. It says, imminent is my call to action. The stakes could not be higher. This is an accurate portrayal. I'll read it right here. This is the accurate portrayal of events as they happen. This book underwent a 9-month U.S. government security review, and I had a senior member of ATIP review the manuscript to ensure everything is exact and authentic. This is more than my story. It is our story, and I wrote it for you, the public, so that there is no question as to what we're dealing with and what the future might bring. After reading it, I think this will be clear why the topic is so incredibly important, and you can pre-order it now. And you have, of course, August being the date, August 2024. And I know there's an exact day that goes along with this, but that's there. So this is what comes up. The interesting thing about this is that he, of course, doubles down. I wonder if this will actually pull the book up even closer for us. You might not be able to read this, but at the bottom of the book here, it says former head of the Department of Defense's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP. So this has been a big argument, obviously, whether or not ATIP was something that he led, and people have kind of gone back and forth on that. Arrow has come out and said, no, it's not the situation. It was OSAP. So he's out of there with that. And so this was interesting to me because he kind of doubles down. Now, I don't think Arrow is telling the truth about everything. I think the best lie ever told is a half truth. And so when we look at their reporting on the OSAP situation, I tend to agree with them on that. I think that Lou's been a little disingenuous with this process. And I think the whole idea of him being the leader of ATIP, we just don't have the proof from him that that's the case. I understand the letter from Harry. I know all that stuff, but I don't see anything that's really concrete that I could, put my, or kind of hang my hat on and say, yeah, this is what I think is happening. So it's interesting that he's doubling down on that, and that's on the front. Now, the other part of this that's interesting to me is the cover art, because this was talked about a lot. What was that cover going to be? What was that cover really going to be? And what they kind of ended up going with was the gimbal image. This was my guess, okay? And I called myself Mystic Matt after this because I made this little prediction on here. I got to toot my own horn on this one just a little bit. So this was shout out to Skyfire News. 6 days ago. This wasn't 6 days ago, actually. This was 6 days prior to the release of the book, the cover. So here I am in the chat, and they're talking about what they think the cover of the book is going to be. I put gimbal video still will be the cover, okay? Now, it's real. It's a screenshot, but you can go back. You can look in their episode. You can pull it up. It's there. All right. Now, a lot of people would say, how the hell did you guess that? How did you pick that this would be the book cover? The way that I viewed it is like this. Elizondo himself he's like recognizable amongst the UFO community, right? So, but he's not recognizable on a bookshelf. The New York Times article in 2017, all of these things that have come out after, along with it, doing along with the gimbal. Everyone's seen this video, man. Everyone's seen this video. And I thought that was going to be the best way to catch everyone's eye on the bookshelf, not him. Elizondo's popular, sure. But that was kind of my take on it. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised to see that I was right. But hey, you get lucky sometimes, right? I'm not a remote viewer or anything like that. But yeah, it was interesting enough. So that was pretty cool. And then we even had a moment with these, and I probably should have went over this first. You know what sucks really quick about the Twitter bookmark scenario is I can't put these in the order that I want. And I'm trying to stay in that order that I want. Oh, one other thing, okay? Because we kind of talked about where you could get the book. Elizondo has a link. Of course, you can go get it through his link on his Twitter or what have you. He has a website too you can go to. But be careful There are fake links or like fake publishers that are out there selling his book. This guy, Joe, Shock Then Awe, he was unfortunately a victim of the situation. So he says, I asked my wife to add or pre-order Elizondo's book to Amazon list. I was shocked when she said it arrived 2 days later. Needless to say, we were scammed. So be careful, or else you're going to get a book that has this. Nothing. Nothing's going to be imminent when it comes to that. All right. Now, do I want to play this clip? Does it really matter? I don't think it really matters. I'll just give you the sum up point because of the time situation. Like I said, I'm going to have to probably edit some of what I want to go over as we're going through it. Who threatened Lou? Danny Sheehan, Elizondo's attorney, which I think Elizondo has a couple attorneys. He spoke about another attorney recently too, but this is like the big attorney that everybody knows, that Elizondo may have jumped the gun a little bit when he claimed that he was in danger along the way, which is interesting. You know, that was pretty interesting to me. So you have this lead up with this book, man. This book is controversial. It's always going to be controversial. I'm sure that once the book comes out and we all read it, there's going to be a lot of interesting things to take from it. I want to know personally, like, I want to hear stuff like the Mad Dog Mattis story, right? Where supposedly General Mattis came in and kind of saw Lou hunkered down and pulled him out of the hot LZ, you know? I want to hear stuff like that. I want to hear more about the 23-minute video. Maybe Lou ends up talking about that too. Maybe he hints at where that video is or what we actually seen more in that video. We get some more details on that. But I think one area that I'm really, really looking forward to, and I hope he does, I hope he starts to kind of break down TTSA and what really happened. Why did he leave? Why did Mellon leave? Why did Steve Justice get out of there? What was the true meaning behind all of that? I mean, I still think that at Manny Area 503's breakdown of Lou Elizondo in the Who's Lou documentary was very interesting. He asked a lot of good questions. TTSA has been kind of put on the coals or dragged over the coals. And it would be interesting to get that take. I can't imagine that he doesn't go over that stuff. Kind of talk about maybe he wouldn't talk about where the money went because the SEC kind of got involved with trying to figure out some of that. I mean, they bailed out, but yeah, that would be interesting to go over. Maybe he talks about Tom DeLonge a little bit. Who knows? But I'll be reading it for sure. It'll be interesting. I'm sure we won't have disclosure the next day, but anything like that. But I'm interested, you know. I was going to do a breakdown, maybe like chapter by chapter, but I don't know. The last month and a half, I've thought about it, and that sounds kind of boring. I think I'll just do a breakdown of the entire book, and we can kind of go over it and hit the highlights and see what was most interesting for everybody at that point. What else? Was there something else I wanted to touch on with this here? I'm going to have to scroll up and down just a little bit here. We went over that. I guess you guys will get a little bit of the preview here of some more things that have went along here. Oh, yeah. I don't want to leave this out. So shout out to Skyfire News again. You're going to see like a lot of Skyfire bookmarks in here. Go follow them on Twitter, guys. They stay up with this stuff every day. I really appreciate them kind of staying on top of things throughout the week that I'm not able to. So, you know, big plus to them. And you'll see a lot of Matt Laszlo, Ask a Poll. He's the guy that's kind of, boots on the ground in Congress, and he's going over it all. So, shout out to those guys. Make sure you go follow them on Twitter and show them some support too, man, because they're doing a lot of good work as well. Right here, Ask a Poll, UAP. Follow him along. Which, in all honesty, he has been getting a little bit, since we're here, might as well stop at this point. Ask a Poll says, mood, F this shit. It's offensive. We're unplugging. See y'all in a few days. He's saying, look, we want to get some more support for all the work that we're doing. So anything you can go through, subscribe, toss him some money. Please do that. Because that's where I get the stuff, man. I can't lie to you. That's where I get it. Yeah, where are we? The SEC situation. So Cal Korff, he's the guy that I think he's the guy that went after Billy Meyer back in the day. He wrote a book. What was the name of the Pleiades, I think Billy Meyer was stating, that were coming and visiting him, and they gave him like the laser gun and he shot through the tree. The Billy Meyer photo was, I believe, the original photo that was on the X-Files poster that Mulder had in the show. I think they changed it or whatever as time had went on. But so the interesting part about him is he is He's got an SEC complaint that he filed accusing Elizondo of consumer fraud, racketeering, and other crimes. This is from Art Levine of the Washington Spectator. I want to click on this because I wanted to at least read a little bit of this front page here for you guys. You won't be able to see this because I can't, once you open up an image on Twitter, I can't zoom it in. But this is what the top of the complaint reads, okay, which is pretty interesting. CalCorp, April 2024, SEC complaint versus Lou Elizondo, News Corp excerpt. This letter is to officially inform you in a friendly and professional, straight up manner, that I have now officially filed a formal, legally protected whistleblower complaint against Mr. Lou Elizondo for engaging in various criminal activities, according to various laws, to wit. And we'll look at one of these here. Securities fraud. As the SEC especially knows, securities fraud involves making false statements or engaging in deceptive practices in connection with the purchase or sale of securities. If someone falsely claims to have held a government position to attract investors and raise funds through the sale of public stock, public appearance fees, media appearances, and sales, specifically and especially using these fake positions as the main vehicle for earning money by these criminal deceptions and acts, they are, by these inherent dynamics, inherently guilty of securities fraud and crimes. So yeah, it's controversial. The thing that was pretty interesting about this too was that the SEC, like I mentioned earlier, kind of was going after TTSA initially to find out where that money went for the spaceship. Where's our money? But they had backed away from that investigation, and a lot of people thought that it's probably because Mellon was involved, Christopher Mellon, and that the money that he has, it's probably not worth them kind of getting, back and forth, and maybe that whole process can be dragged out. So they backed up. However, I don't think that's what's probably going to happen here. I mean, if they really start to dig at this, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We don't have full proof at all that Elizondo's telling us the truth on this, that ATIP really was he really was the leader of that program, and that program was what spanned that time frame. So it'll be interesting, without a doubt. Long-term, kind of where everything ends up leading with that. I think that's probably it on the book side of things. What do you guys think, huh? This is a wrap up. I know you guys a lot of you probably know a lot of this stuff. If you don't already, or if you do already, sorry about that. If you didn't know some of this stuff, hey man, thanks for stopping by, and hopefully you learned something. And here's another example, I guess, real quick, as we're scrolling by. Inside the Pentagon's Chase for the UFO by Didier O'Leary. I don't know, $17.99. This is the real one. So there's like a $10 price difference. The book's, I think, $30, which that's a little bit of a sale there, a little fire sale that's going on with it. Okay, so let's change gears. Let's go over to this Sean Kirkpatrick situation. What do you guys want? You guys want the clip first? I don't know. Do we go clip on it? God, why can't I order this stuff where I want it? Boy. They're really killing me. Dead Air Filler, as we're looking here, Steven Spielberg's upcoming untitled UFO film gets a release date from Universal Pictures. Film is scheduled for May 15th, 2026. So, yeah, there you go. You get a little bit of a little update there on the new entertainment that's coming out. I think we should just go. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is from Stephen Greenstreet on May 9th. Update to my reporting. Brandon Fugel has provided photos of a purported 2018 Skinwalker Ranch briefing in Washington, D.C. that seems to show Sean Kirkpatrick in attendance. Oh, man. And you guys got to see this photo. This is terrific, man. Oh, I wish I could zoom in. Wait, does the other one zoom in? I don't think that it does. Can I zoom in this way? You want to talk about like deer in the headlights, man. Oh, did I go too far? Oh, there it is. Dude. I don't think I can get it where you guys are really going to be able to get the full effect of it. But there he is. He's staring at the camera, which is interesting too, because he's looking right at it. I mean, he knows the camera's in the room, right? This is pretty crazy, man. It's very, very funny. But this news came out. the whole idea of this briefing has been around for a while. Stephen Greenstreet was calling the Pentagon, trying to figure out that there was some Senate Armed Service Committee briefing that happened in 2018, and he was trying to get actual answers on what was going on with that entire process. And he was getting stonewalled. I think it took him like a couple of months, he said, to even get in here. Actually, here's the clip. Let's watch a little bit of this. This is Stephen Greenstreet trying to get a hold of the Pentagon over this Skinwalker Ranch briefing. We'll take a second here.
Following up on an email.
I reached out to the Senate Armed Services Committee to confirm and ask about this 2018 meeting with Fugel, and I immediately got the runaround.
So I sent an email already 3 days ago, 4 days ago now, I guess. And I just haven't heard anything.
For weeks, I called, emailed, called some more.
Last time I called, you guys said he was calling me, you know, when he had a moment, and that was, you know, a couple days ago.
Yeah, dude. This is the way that it goes, huh? The wheels of justice, the wheels of the government turn slowly. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I bring this up is because this is kind of the basis of the whole story here. Okay, this is the kind of the start. This is the origin story, if you will, that this, I guess, rumor had come around to him, and he was trying to figure out what the deal was. So this gives us a good groundwork. But yeah, I don't know, man. Greenstreet's been on top of this. I don't agree with everything he says, but at the end of the day, we have to look at all sides here, guys, to really kind of get a better idea of the bigger picture here.
I got the feeling that someone didn't want to talk about this, and they were hoping I'd simply go away.
I believe that's true. That's what they do hope. They don't want to talk to you, Stephen. They don't. They want to get out of there at 5 o'clock. They want to go home, turn on Netflix. You know, they're not interested in telling you about this meeting at Skinwalker Ranch.
But I didn't.
I was curious if you could give me a timeline on when I might get a response. Oh my God. I have spent weeks that have turned into months just to get answers to basic questions. Did this happen? Who was there? Why did it happen?
Finally, after 2 months, I finally got a response.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
A committee spokesperson states, in 2018, Mr. Fugel updated a handful of Senate staffers on plans for his properties. No senators were involved, and no subsequent briefings were held.
This makes no sense. First of all,
Well, hold on now, Stephen. It doesn't make sense right now, okay? we definitely get a little bit more of a picture here as we're going to continue to progress here, but I can understand it doesn't make sense. Now, here's the thing. When we look at this still image right here, we all know that Greenstreet went out to Skinwalker Ranch, met with Fugel. There was a big back and forth with them. Fugel was not happy with Greenstreet, with this whole assumption of what happened with Skinwalker Ranch and the whole thing. But when he's showing him this picture, when I seen this again, I thought, well, this has got to be the photo. He's got to be looking at the photo right here, right? That's what I assumed. But as you'll see later on here with this, Greenstreet seems to be more surprised at the photo and like he had never seen it before. So I don't know what he's showing him right here. This is interesting enough. We'll watch just a little bit more of this.
I saw photos of this briefing. So they're saying it was just it was just a handful of Senate staffers. No, Department of Defense officials were there. Also, they said...
Okay, so maybe he did? Maybe he did. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. This whole statement from him was all beforehand. So actually, now that I'm looking at this is kind of weird. I don't know. Why does Greenstreet, guys, what do you think? He seems so surprised then by this. If he's seen Kirkpatrick, maybe he just didn't know of Kirkpatrick, I guess, at the time. I don't know. It's weird. I guess I'm a little bit lost on the time frame on this then.
Hey, staffers on the Senate Armed Services Committee fly a Utah real estate mogul to DC to brief them on plans for his real estate properties? That makes zero sense. Fugel says this briefing was all about Skinwalker. The sole purpose was about Skinwalker Ranch.
And it appears to be the truth. That appears to be the truth. This says, I don't know if this part's actually even going to matter, to be honest with you.
I emailed the spokesperson these follow-up questions, to no response. I called and emailed some more, again, to no response.
If this was like about a...
Okay, so he got nowhere with it. Okay, plane landed on Green Street in this clip, but that's kind of the whole process. So I don't know. I figured he would have known this image was coming or knew it existed. I don't know. You'll see what I mean by this when I play this interview with Green Street and Kirkpatrick. Green Street seems like more surprised to me than he should. I don't know. We'll take a look at this here. Where's this at? Where is it? This? Let me do something really fast. I don't know what this is. This might be it. Okay, it is. I just want to listen. Before I double click stuff, we got to switch over. We got to go a little bit, incognito, and then we can pull this boy back up. Because I didn't label this. I guess I just left the date from it today. So I thought this was the clip, but I just want to make sure. You know how we do it. If this is super loud at the start, my apologies. I'll adjust the volume as we go. This is the interview that came out, I think just at the end of May, nearing the end of May. Pretty interesting. And they're going to talk about this situation right here.
The second moment comes when I asked Kirkpatrick if he had a previous history working with UFOs, or if he had any previous associations with members of this core group of true believers. Before Arrow, did you have any interest at all in UFOs?
Not beyond the occasional movie.
Okay. Before Arrow, did you perform any duties regarding UFOs or paranormal phenomena?
No.
Did you attend a 2018 Senate Armed Services Committee briefing on Skinwalker Ranch?
Uh-oh.
I asked him this question because...
Listen, okay. This is the best takeaway from this entire interview. Okay, you got to look at the way Kirkpatrick responds to this stuff, the reactions. He's, shit. Dude, this is so good. I gotta pause a little bit as we go here, obviously, because of the music and everything else. But really pay attention to the way he's answering these questions. Look at the body language. I'm not saying it proves that he's lying, but when you think back on other interviews that you've seen with Kirkpatrick, he always seems to be very, very stoic. You can't move him. Okay, he's very matter of fact. He's telling you what's going on. He's got all the answers. He's, tipping the glasses. He knows what's going on. This is crazy to see him out of his element, and he's just waffling here. This is great.
In a previous report of mine, I revealed that in 2018, Brandon Fugel, the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, went to Washington, D.C. and gave a briefing to multiple Pentagon officials about the spooky stuff at the ranch. At the briefing were some of the members of this group. Fugel told me Kirkpatrick was not only there, but was leading the briefing about Skinwalker Ranch. Did you attend a 2018 Senate Armed Services Committee briefing on Skinwalker Ranch?
No, I attended a briefing at the request of the Senate Armed Services Committee on what was at that time associated with the ATIP, OTAP, and OSAP research.
Hit me with that tap, dude. Listen, I misspeak all the time, but this is so great to hear him kind of like fumble around, and he is just not that articulate guy that we're used to hearing. So here, one more time. Let me get that tap one more time.
Committee on what was at that time associated with the ATIP, OTAP, and OSAP research that was going.
He's undeniably nervous. Okay. Look, I understand, but here's what I think is going on. I think that he's starting to kind of remember, and he's realizing what he said before, nothing prior to 2020. And now he feels like he's a little bit caught up here. He's doing a little dance here. He's trying to pull it together, which he might be, he might in his mind think he's going to be able to get it back. But listen, this is why I say that even if you don't like Stephen Greenstreet, you gotta watch the stuff. You gotta give people W's when they get a W. This interview was a dub. This was great. So this brought out a whole lot of information about our former head of Arrow here and what's possibly going on. So we'll continue.
As an independent outside reviewer, and I gave them my opinions at that time.
Yeah, he was just hanging out.
Who invited you to that briefing?
It was one of the staffers.
Okay, one of the staffers on SASC. Got it. And you're saying that this
SASC, Senate Armed Service Committee. That's Senate Armed Service Committee.
was like an offset of OSAP ATIP?
That's my understanding at the time, was it was a spin out of those programs.
Now I'm going to rewind this just a little bit, because watch how he answers that question. Man, he's like, I don't know, man. Don't look at me. That's what I thought it was. This is great, man. He never answers questions like this. He never does. He's always matter of fact. This is great.
Offset of OSAP ATIP?
That's my understanding at the time, was it was a spin out of those programs.
In 2018. Wow. Okay.
So those programs were ended. The research by these independent people, because this was not an official government briefing. This was a briefing by people that were not associated with the government. So,
okay, so this briefing was not an official DoD Pentagon briefing.
oh, absolutely not.
Okay, Brandon Fugel.
All right, so there's his response, right? Now we're going to get into this Fugel situation. I gave you guys a little bit of preface at the start of this whole thing. Let's continue on.
The owner of Skinwalker Ranch says you, quote, led that briefing in 2018 and claims you said you were, quote, already fully aware of the reality of UFO phenomena. Is that accurate?
I wasn't leading anything. I had another job at the time, and I was brought in as an independent, objective reviewer of what the SASC was being told.
Okay.
Okay, he's trying to get it out there. He's saying, look, that's not me. I'm not involved in any of it. Now, spoiler warning here, what actually went on with him while he was at the meeting and what supposedly he said or not, we don't have the full answer to yet. And I'll go into a little bit of that as we could progress here. But I just want to stop and mark that point to remember that that's what he's simply saying, that he was just a silent observer. He was there to just observe. Why the hell he was there observing that, I don't know. But interestingly enough, we'll continue.
Because this offered a little bit of a curveball in my reporting, because I did a whole deep dive on Skinwalker Ranch. Brandon Fugel told me about the briefing, said, you were there. He said that, Kirkpatrick said that UFOs are real in this briefing. And when I reported that, I think the UFO community at the time was like, oh, Kirkpatrick's a UFO guy because Fugel said so. And then when you report...
That was a thing that went around, right? That was a big thing. People really thought Kirkpatrick was going to get into Arrow and kind of break it all open and be, full team disclosure and kind of break down the doors, get the answers. Boy, that's a controversial outcome.
Came out, they're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, no, Kirkpatrick did not say aliens were real.
Or UFOs were real, that the reality, quote, the reality of UFO phenomena is real.
No, I never said that.
Before Arrow, did you have any association with...
Better hope you didn't. Better hope you didn't.
Any of these folks, any of the people in this core group of believers?
No.
So, like, when you went to that briefing in 2018 where you said OSAP ATIP folks were there, you didn't know any of those people?
Not at the time.
Okay.
Not that I remember. I think I met all the people associated with this all at that time. Was probably around the first that I'd ever met them.
Oh, interesting enough. I think it was like 20 seconds left in this clip. So yeah, he's saying, hey, I don't know these people. I just met them. It's interesting.
Okay, so he admits that he was at this unofficial 2018 Skinwalker Ranch briefing, but only on invitation and only as an independent, objective reviewer. Okay? But seriously, what was he even doing there? How can he say that he had no interest or duties regarding UFOs before 2022 if he's attending briefings in 2018 about one of the most famous UFO spots on planet Earth?
True. Big true. How can he say that, huh? Yeah, I don't know. It's a wild thing. So this came out, right? Right after this interview. That's when the picture came out. Okay? That's when the photo came out. This photo is here too. This is Fugel, Hal Putoff. I think this is Kit Green, right? Is that allegedly Kit Green? I don't know. I can't remember who this guy is. I don't watch a bunch of like that Skinwalker Ranch show, to be very fair with you. I think he's on it, this guy. I'm not sure his name. Yeah, there's Put Off. There's The Boys. April 19, 2018. This is what Fugel has to say here. I'm telling the truth. My team from Skinwalker Ranch was asked to provide a confidential briefing in Washington, D.C. to the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and United States Armed Services Committee. Sean Kirkpatrick was at the head of the table. So let's see. He's there. There he is. There he is. He's looking right over there. All right. So this is a big point of controversy. Now, another part which I couldn't find the tweet or kind of the breakout of what all in all Brandon Fugel says that he has. He made a mention of there being a USB that was stolen from his hotel room after this meeting that had like a bunch of proof on it, or had like the full breakout of the entire presentation. I think that's what happened with it, if I'm remembering right, because like I said, I couldn't find the thing to give you guys the full straight picture on it. But there is said to be video of this meeting. Okay, so the photo is here. Brandon Fugel sets the photo out and says, look, he's here. I'm not lying. This is the case. Take a look. All right. Now, what do you think I thought of when he said that? When he said there was photo and video and he put out the photo? I said, where's the video, man? Where's the video? Where's the video of Kirkpatrick saying, hey, this is the meeting. I'm running it. We know about UFOs. I did make a funny little post on this on this picture that's somewhere along the way where I was thinking, wait till the video comes out and it's Sean Kirkpatrick standing right here in front of this big board, and he's saying, hey, this is the side of the ranch we're going to put the dino beaver cages on. Then it's over. But I wanted the video. And Fugel is now saying that because this is kind of the behind the scenes. I heard Astral in a Twitter space talking about this, because Astral, he's a popular guy on Twitter. He's actually in the UFOlogue contest. He messaged Brandon Fugel recently and said, hey, look, dump the video. Give us the video, because if the video comes out and Kirkpatrick is talking about UFOs and he knows what's going on, it's over for Arrow, man. It's pretty much over. I don't know how you could really take much of what they say to heart anymore as truth. At the bare minimum, you're going to have to go back and kind of redig at everything and try to resort everything around for things to make sense with them. I don't know. It's hard. I'm kind of struggling to even articulate what I think about that. It's just, you can't really believe them anymore. It's kind of done. And that's not to say, look, I guess what I'm really was struggling to try to say was, I'm having a Kirkpatrick moment here. See, I do it too. But listen, I don't run a program for the government though. So there's a difference here. I'm allowed to do that. I just do a little small show on YouTube. It doesn't mean all of Arrow, everyone that works there is a liar. Everyone that's been a part of that program. I think it's important to at least say that. But when the head of the program is full of it, it's more than a grain of salt at that point. So they were asking, get the video out, let's see it. Brandon Fugel's excuse is saying that there's people in it that need to be cropped out, or there's people involved in that video that don't want to be there. I mean, look, we're looking around at this table. Everybody's kind of in the image. I mean, yeah, I guess these faces are here. You can't really tell who these people are, but I don't know, man. Astro made a good point. Crop them out. Release the audio with some video. Actually, I take that back. I wouldn't want him to release just the audio, because that's way too manipulative, or possible or potential manipulation. But if he could crop it down to where we could see that there was some video, it matches the room, we can kind of do a little side work, detective work to figure out what happened with that. You could put two and two together and you could see the situation. We know there's cameras in there. We know it's there. Release the video. My guess, unfortunately, is that whether or not Kirkpatrick ran the meeting, or was at least, a big part of this meeting, I think it'll probably just live in UFO lore forever. I don't think he has the video. I could be wrong. And I do hope that I am. But the reality of it is, when I look at this like the way Fugel would, okay, I think that he figures that photo would have been enough. That he could put that photo out there, make another claim, but since the photo was there, that people might really not ask for that video, which seems crazy to me. I'm like, why would you really think people aren't going to ask for that? But maybe he did. Maybe he figured he could just dump it and go, and no one would really ask. But I don't know. I'm asking. Astral's asking. You know, everybody should be asking. You know, let's drop the video. You know, let's really kind of put things to bed if we can. But it was a big moment, dude. And I'll end this this segment here with him on this point. You guys have heard me say this before. I don't pick sides on this entire topic of disclosure and these UFO celebrities and everything that's going on, just all government or all believer, because this is what happens, man. This is what happens. If you've watched this topic for more than a couple of years, you see that if you jump on one side, since everyone is fallible, there's just slip ups. And then what are you going to do? Let's say you're go Arrow. It's all about Arrow. Arrow's telling the truth. It's all balloons, man. Kirkpatrick, he's the credentialed PhD guy. He got behind the doors of the DOE. He's there. He knows it all. He's telling us straight. Okay, that narrative in that entire process, it's kind of gone unchecked for a long time. Taking it back to like the Arrow report, Christopher Mellon gave a rebuttal that we went over on the original Arrow historical report. And Mellon kind of checked them a little bit, but it wasn't enough to kind of overturn that for everybody. The media didn't care. The media didn't really even pick up on Christopher Mellon's rebuttal to that report. But when this happens, this is a serious reality check. This is where you go, oh shit. Now I have to sit here and make up excuses for this guy because I picked the team again. And that's when you're saying, well, he's got a ton of meetings, dude. He's got thousands of meetings he goes to. Of course, he maybe got this one wrong. Listen, you're at the head of this government program, Arrow. You're responsible. This is a lot of responsibility for him. I don't care whether or not he wanted it to start with. I don't care if he was elected in there or any of that. He's responsible. He's taking these interviews. Later on in that interview with Greenstreet asks him, you know, you look like you can't wait to get out of this topic. And he says, yeah, I can't wait to stop talking about it. Well, who made you take the interview with Greenstreet? Nobody. You don't have to be there doing that. So what I think happened was, because no one's perfect, and he's definitely not perfect, he slipped up. And the more and more that you put yourself out there that way, you're gonna slip up. And this is a bad one. Because even if the video doesn't come out, and even if it doesn't, we don't get proof that he was, running the interview, it's in the lore. It's definitely muddied the waters a lot for Arrow, a lot for me. And then when you take into account where Kirkpatrick went last year after he left Arrow, going to Battelle, Oak Ridge, man, it starts to add up. These negatives start to add up on that side, and it balances out all of this conversation about the government's Arrow is just lily white and they're telling us all the truth. So you got to be careful. I won't pick sides. When this came out, I was laughing, man. I was laughing hard. I couldn't believe it. I was like, here you go. This guy's going to get tapped up again. But okay, that's that. So we're on there. I don't think there's really much else that you can go over with that. We're still waiting for the video. Maybe it'll come out. Maybe it won't. All right, where do I want to go next? Where are we at here on time? 53 minutes. Okay. Here's what we'll do. I want to go over a couple of highlights from Congress, and then we'll probably just wrap this thing up. I do want to leave some of the things like the DOE hearing. The UAP caucus had some, I was going to go over that if we had time here today. You'll see some bookmarks as we go through. I'll probably save that for next week, and we'll take a little bit more of a deeper look at that. And then the Congress stuff I kind of want to go over that we may have missed. Exclusive on May 5th here from Askapol. Arrow is not done. Rep. Eric Burleson tells us Eric Burleson, part of the UAP caucus, we still have dark programs that are spending money that we don't have an answer for. So he's still trying to understand where the money's going, which is interesting. Now he seems to go into skiffs, and Eric Burleson thinks that when they talk to Arrow that they're kind of being transparent, that they're trying to tell him the truth about the technology or what's going on. So he's not going anywhere, even though he believes that. He still wants to chase the money. What I think he'll find is the more that he goes to chase the money, he might find out that maybe Arrow isn't being as transparent as they could be. So that'll be an interesting development as things go on. Obviously, Anna Paulina Luna mentions the UAP caucus is working on doing something with USOs, okay, for the next public hearing, underwater submerged objects. Okay, that's coming. Now, we know that there is a really, really good plan for around July, I believe. Let me see if I can pull it up. Senator Gillibrand's informed Arrow, I'd like to have a public hearing this summer. So she wants to have a public hearing this summer with Arrow. But you know what's interesting, guys, is I still am confused on this, and maybe you guys can find a little something. I don't think that's the only hearing that they're attempting to do. I still think that the UAP caucus, definitely Burchett and Luna, want to do a field hearing where obviously they're talking about the USOs. And then they wanted to bring in Grush. They have like a list of Grush's hostile witnesses, if you guys remember. Sorry, this is a lot to like kind of throw together here for you at once. 4 weeks of stuff all at once, minutia. It's kind of difficult. But that's also what they want to have like a field hearing for and go over that. So we know that Gillibrand wants one in the summer around July, and then we're probably going to get something that's more towards the Grush stuff, subpoena stuff, as stuff that kind of rolls into that. Maybe more. Maybe we'll get more of that. Let me see where we're at here. Kristen Gillibrand scheduling a public UFO hearing in the U.S. Senate this July. So yeah, September at the latest. So I guess July may not be the end all be all. Let me see. You guys probably can't even read this, dude. What am I doing? Kristen Gillibrand scheduling a public UFO hearing in the U.S. Senate this July, September at the least. She says, I'm trying to do July for the public. Let me click this, man. I want to see if we can get a little bit further down the way here with this, a little bit more information on it. As you scroll down on these articles from Laszlo, he breaks down, like he has the video at the top and the audio at the top that you can go through, but he does kind of transcript some of this stuff for you. Maybe we'll read this a little bit here. Okay. Senator Gillibrand and aide are walking through the basement of the U.S. Capitol on their way to Senate floor when Askapol's Matt Laszlo gets a quick, if newsy, update on the hearing she's planning with Arrow. So let's read this for a second. Maybe this will give us a little bit deeper. I'm just going through bookmarking some highlights here. We'll take a little look. This is also a recap for me too, guys. I haven't been as deep. So Kristen Gillibrand, okay, what you got? Matt Laszlo, you got a second. Gillibrand, yeah. Any update on Arrow? Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick's interim. Oh no, I haven't scheduled. I told my staff to schedule it. Yeah, they don't have a guy running Arrow, the new head of Arrow. That's not in place. They have a temporary right now, but we don't have like a mainstay for the program yet, which is also interesting. Let me see. That's not really what we were looking for though. I said I wanted to do it this summer. He said he'd love to do it. And I told him I wanted him to do a video of the things. Oh, this isn't what we want, guys. Oh, okay, down here at the bottom, hoping July. So nothing additional that I wanted to actually go over. I thought she was going to break down really who was all going to be there, but maybe not. So you do have that to look forward to. There is stuff coming later on in the year with Congress. Let me see. I got it. Guys, I got a clip that, let me see here. Gosh, UAP caucus. Let me see exactly what one I want to play. Because like I said, we're getting close to the time here where I want to go over this. That's the UAPDA. We're not there yet, guys. Let me see. I apologize, man. This is crazy to try to get the order of this there. There's a lot. I got a lot of UAPDA stuff. More than I even thought that I did, to be honest with you. Let me see. Maybe we'll just jump to that. Time-wise, I might as well just jump to that anyway. So yeah, I guess I'll just leave it wrapped at that. There wasn't a whole lot of reporting that went on with Congress, but we know that those, at least one hearing with Arrow's coming and probably a field hearing that's going to go over more of like the USOs, Grush's hostile witness list, stuff like that. So that's there. There has been a lot of conversation about the UAPDA this year. It says from Askapol here, talks have started on your UAP amendment with Chuck Schumer in this year's NDA. Oh, yeah. Rounds exclusively tells Askapol. So Senator Rounds is saying that they are working on it, amendment for this year. So what they're doing is they're going to go ahead and push this out again, put it through the NDAA, and see what they can get through. Now, what I've heard is that, and I think I might even have a little bit of proof for you guys too on this as we go through it, but the bill is going to be very similar to the one from last year. There's not a whole lot of changes that are going along with it. The one thing that I did hear about the bill, and this was in a Twitter space, so grain of salt, which is that if it gets passed through, they can't go back and just refute the entire bill or pull the whole bill out at one point. If they decide, you know what, we passed this, but we want to go ahead and rip stuff out of it, they can't. They can only take partial points out of the bill from moment to moment, if that makes sense. All right. But Robert Garcia, he was a guy that was, I think, running the, was it the initial one with Grush in the hearing? But he's a senator, man, that's been really involved, okay, with this new stuff, okay? So Congressman Robert Garcia on his 3 UAP amendments that he's proposing. So there's actually like kind of different views that people are putting out there. It's not even that the Chuck Schumer is the only thing that people are kind of pushing at the Schumer bill and what they're doing with rounds. Even Tim Burchett has his own bill that he's trying to, push forward because he has a different opinion on how he feels disclosure in these documents, and all of this disclosure should be put out to the people. Okay. But this is what he's saying. I'm offering 3 UAP amendments. This is Congressman Robert Garcia, 3 UAP amendments for the National Defense Authorization Act. We must continue to responsibly push for safe reporting of UAPs and bring that transparency to the public. This is critical for our national security. So they're still interested. Congress is still interested. I wondered how this was going to go. That's the real reason why I've been following along with this, because I think when Congress stops, man, I don't really know where this stuff goes anymore as far as like a government sanctioned disclosure. It won't look good. That's for sure. He says, my First Amendment creates a UAP reporting mechanism for civilian pilots. My Second Amendment includes UAP disclosure provisions from last year that were blocked, including UAP Records Review Board, which that was already a part of that from last year. My final amendment ensures AARO has access to covert intel for investigations. That's interesting. So he's kind of simply, let me read that again. My final amendment ensures AARO has access to covert intel for investigations. So is he kind of on the side of Grush? Where Grush was kind of saying, look, AARO doesn't have access. I can't talk to them about these programs that are classified because they're linked with other programs that don't have anything to do with UAP. So he's kind of rolling with that narrative. I tend to think that AARO had the opportunity or had the authorities to talk to Grush. I think Grush could have went in there and spoke with him. I think he should have. It's not that not even that he's going to get like a really great shake, a fair shake about it. But what he could do is we could look at how AARO responds to that conversation and the information, and we can kind of parcel through what we think is real or what's not. We need information. Like, it's better that Grush talks to AARO than he doesn't. We don't even have his op-ed. I mean, Burleson has the op-ed, but we don't. So the whole point of the matter here, the gist is that they're pushing, they're going for it. All right, they're still in the works for it. Tim Burchett, this is his belief about the UAP Transparency Act. Okay, this is how he feels, how this is going to go again this year. Tim Burchett's op-ed, I don't expect the UAP Transparency Act to pass. My efforts to push for increased transparency around UAPs have been stonewalled by the IC and other members of Congress. However, we need to try. We need to get everyone on record. Yeah. We also need that Senate Select Committee so that we can go ahead and subpoena people. That's important too. So that's where he's at. He thinks it's not going to go through again. And this is why he makes his own bill up, because he feels it's going to go the same way the UAPDA as it did last year. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to get tore up. And to be honest, we don't even know still who tore it up behind the scenes. We don't even have that information yet. So it's interesting enough. Yeah, so here you go. Skyfire again. Like I said, you're going to see them all over the place. Congressman Tim Burchett has introduced a bill that would require all federal agencies to declassify documents, records, and reports related to unidentified anomalous phenomena. Now, the point of this, though, is that it's right now. He doesn't want to do the 25-year business like that's in the UAPDA. I agree with him on that. Just dump the files. Just put them out there. Some people, I guess, call that, catastrophic disclosure or however you want to say it. I don't know. It's all just nomenclature, but I agree with him, man. Just dump the files at this point. 80 some years. I'm on board. Now, does that mean I'm on board with everything in this bill and how it's all laid out? No, it's unfortunate. You're going to find things that you're not happy with in all of it. In the new UAPDA, I'm sure you're going to find things you're not happy with. I'm sure you're going to find things unhappy with here. I'm sure you're going to find things you're unhappy with Robert Garcia. So it's here, the bill. Maybe what I'll do is maybe we'll take a look at this bill, possibly next week. Maybe like when we get closer towards the time in November, we start get more around that area. Maybe we'll go ahead and break this down. I usually break down all this stuff, so I'm not sure exactly when I'll get to it or when it makes the most sense. Sorry guys, I haven't been looking. I mean, I've been seeing chat, but I haven't been responding to you guys. Like I said, I'm trying to get a ton of stuff. It's 10 pounds of stuff in a 3-pound bag here that I'm attempting to get at. So yeah, it's good to see you guys. B, hey, good to see you. I don't know, B, have you ever come around my channel before? I know I see you on Twitter, but I'm not sure. Intergalactic Angler, good to see you. Steve S. Hammer, is that Steve H? Is that Steve H over there? Steve H, real quick. Steve H, you watched me do my UFO log. You listened to it 3 times as we went through that process, trying to get that thing recorded, man. Yeah, dude, that was crazy. What do we? Okay, so what do I want to go over at the very, very end here? What's the last thing? So the UAPDA is coming. We know that they're working on it. I want to go into even more detail, guys, but there's no way to do it. We'll have to, I guess, revisit a lot of this stuff. Let me see here. Yeah, Tim Burchett tells Askapol subscribers David Grush's list of cooperatives and hostile witnesses will be part of the next hearing. There it is. Confirms Congressional UAP caucus wants testimony from Tim Gallaudet. Ooh. So Tim Gallaudet's going to get in there. Tim Gallaudet was the guy that made the famous NHHI, an acronym there, the non-human higher intelligence. He's controversial to say the least for a lot of people, but yeah, so they want him there. All right. So that's part of that next hearing. There we go. All right. Let me see if there's anything else that I think stands out when it comes to the UAPDA, or I guess the UAPDA and the Congress stuff kind of got lumped together. Man, I there's a way to kind of cheat this bookmark system with them, with Twitter, which is you can, go back, get your list of bookmarks for the week, and then go put them on into their own bookmark page one at a time as time goes on. But the problem is they put them backwards. It's always the newest at the top rather than being the oldest at the top. And then could you imagine that if I could just lay it out like that? I would just go boom, 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 boom. Dude, we'd be on fire. This channel would be absolutely on fire. But instead, we're working with the clunkiness that is this. Obviously, Tim Burchett thinks that he came out on May 20th and said that he thinks that Arrow is lying in a recent report that aliens aren't real. Former head of Arrow. That's interesting enough. So there you go. These are where we're at. Okay. I'm just trying to get this stuff in. Holy. Okay, let me look. Why don't we end it? Why don't we end it right around... Let me see. Let's go some of this AI stuff. I don't want to leave the AI out. The AI stuff is actually important to this channel as well. We go over an AI video of the week, kinda. I think I'm moving that stuff to Twitter. Mainly because I always get nailed for copyright stuff when I bring it up, because the music either gets me or one of the videos got me where I played it for like a minute and a half and they even killed me on that, which is crazy enough. So you guys know that the Neuralink has been Elon Musk's brain implant that's going to allow us to kind of get to that next level of humanity's interaction with technology. This ended up in May being put into the head of a patient the first one, a test subject, if you will. And that test subject made it through the process healthy from what we can see here. And he went around and he did a couple of interviews. And this is a clip from the interview. And the reason why I picked this clip and out of the couple that were out there is because it really does kind of, I think, give us a good idea of how this technology will end up being implemented in the future, how it will grow, how it will develop. And I think it kind of opens at least the floodgates for a lot of theorization on where we're going to be 100 years from now, 500 years, 1,000 years. It's very interesting. So Neuralink's first recipient, Nolan Arbo, I think that's Arbo, by the way, explains, are you using your thoughts to send text? He's using his thoughts. Let's get to the clip. Enough of me. Let's get to the clip.
Are you using your thoughts to send texts?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'll give credit where credit's due on this, too. This is Project Uni. This is Jay. I forgot. Jay got this interview, man. Dude, he's been on fire, huh? He was out at Contact in the desert, and he's been all over the place. Let's sing back over.
Are you using your thoughts to send texts?
Yeah, yes and no. It's not like I'm thinking like this sentence and then that sentence comes out on the screen. For right now, I'm still using like a little virtual keyboard that pops up on the screen, and I'm using the cursor to like click on characters. I have like a little dictation on there. So I have like the keyboard, there's like a little microphone, I'll dictate and then go through and like edit whatever I need to edit. But
so that's where they're at right now, right? So he's not thinking, this is still going to be a process no matter what, right? So the process starts off with him moving around the cursor with his thoughts. That's pretty crazy. He'll be thinking what he wants to write. That'll be coming. It'll take a little bit.
But that's still like, it takes me less than a minute to write a text, you know, like super quick. And that's like way, way better. And that's not the end of this. That's just what we're doing right now, because the first like part of this whole study was cursor control. It's all just, you know, get control of the cursor, get the cursor to be good, like have it not be where I need someone else when I'm on my computer and stuff.
How long you think that's going to take before they get it moving even faster? I don't think it would take that long. I think the biggest obstacle to all this was him getting it into his head, getting him in a position where he could do an interview with this thing in his head. I mean, once we got in, the sky's the limit. It's just computing power. It's learning. It's development. It's coming, man. It's coming. A lot of people look at this guy, this Nick Arbo here, and they're like, oh man, this guy's crazy. Why would you do this? I don't know. It definitely is a risk, to say the least, to be able to get involved in this so soon. The cool thing, and I don't think that they've, I haven't seen that they've actually implanted the second one yet, but the FDA did clear for a second recipient. So there will be a second person with Neuralink. There'll be two, and that's coming, which is interesting enough. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
And so give me as
Nolan, Nick Nolan.
much capability as possible, but everything's just going to keep growing. We're already working on ways to do something like you're saying, where I can text in a much more efficient way. I can like write in a much more efficient way.
Yeah, it's coming. Moody, this guy doesn't pause well. Damn, dude. I'm trying, bro. Listen, give me some time, okay? This is the first show back in 6 weeks. We'll get the pauses right. Listen, I can't lie. I am going to pause a little bit extra because I got a little bit of PTSD from these copyright claims, man. You know? We're trying to not get nailed, okay? I guess this is kind of our AI video of the week here, huh? Dream Machine by Luma AI is just 3 days old. Now memes are becoming videos. 10 wild examples. Everybody's seen this meme, right? Distracted boyfriend. You see this one? But the thing is they're making them videos. Let's mute this thing, huh? Look at that. That's pretty good. He's ooh. Man, oh man. That's me looking at the brand new the new AI software. Looking at the old stuff and look at the new. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's coming. The memes are coming. There's going to be the video memes. Look, we'll go over the UAP disclosure fun stuff next week. Okay? This is all here. I want to keep this thing under an hour and a half, man. I really do. And I need like probably 30 minutes to go over this, dude. So I'd rather not do a bad job at it. rather go ahead and take my time on it next week. Then I think that might wrap us up, guys. I think that I might do it. Let me see here. Let's get a little background track, huh? Let's get a little background track here. Is that really loud? Holy, that's loud. Guys, why didn't you tell me how loud that was? Okay, we'll do it right there. Yeah, I think that's it. That's your catch up. I don't see anything else, man. All right, yeah, we already talked about the Spielberg. We went through that. This is next week. This is not next week. All right. Okay, back to the big screen with me on it here. The uncomfortable screen. It's uncomfortable for me. Hey, look. So I want to just end with a couple refreshers for anybody that's new that showed up here nearing the end. Well, of course, once again, happy Father's Day to everybody. You know, go out there and if you're able to, you know, celebrate with your dad and you know, get him a card or something. You know, spend some time. Definitely like, share, and subscribe to the show if you guys enjoyed this today. I know it was a little bit clunkier than probably how I wanted it to be, but we're gonna get the flow back. And again, look at the pinned tweet at the top, the UFOlogue contest, and the link is up there. When that information does come out, please do go follow along with all of that. And any kind of support you can throw to me would be much appreciated, man. The second submission was 25 minutes of talking of a monologue. It was tough, man. It was definitely tough. Even though you have all these thoughts, these ideas, it's hard to get all that together, man. And you want it to be you know? You don't want it to be a history report. You don't want it to be like a presentation. It's all about your thoughts, you know, your feelings of what's really going on. And that's what I did my best to portray. So I think when you get it in there and you listen, I hope that's what you come up with. But yeah, that's going to do it. Where's the baseball cap? Says Hammers. Dude, I got a hat, man. I got hats. I got one back there. Well, you can't see it. I got a hat back there. I don't know. I got hats over there. I can't always do the hat. Sometimes it's annoying. My wife hates it, man. She's like, hey, you know, you've been doing your hair again, you know, for the show and stuff like that. And I didn't, when I was on Alien Addict last week, I did it too. Was last week I did my hair for it? Yeah, I did. I usually don't deal with it on Sundays. I'll put a hat on because it's Sunday and I don't really want to do a whole lot of like, other than rolling out of bed and kind of getting around doing the show. So that's where that is. But yeah, thank you guys for coming around, man. I never look at the viewer count. I never know where the stuff is with the viewers, man. To be honest, I don't pay attention, but I do pay attention to you guys in chat. Steve, good to see you. Hammers, Rotary, thanks for coming. You guys were in the song. Hope you've seen that. Moody Mongol, good to see you as well. Coming around, buddy. Coming back. We're coming back. John Stokes, shout out to you as well. B from Twitter, shout out. Good to see you. Intergalactic Angler. Intergalactic Angler. I say the way Rich does, I guess. William Schwant, good to see you. Good to see you. Jeff Garvey, I'm going through the chat now. Nick Cosmic Twilight, shout out to all you guys. I'm really bad with ending this. I got to get better at doing that. So enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you guys next week on Terrestrial Material. Have a nice one. Hold on a second. We have a request. We have a request. You guys can still hear me. Rotary wants me to play the song from the beginning. Okay. Now, full disclosure, if everyone's still sitting here, there's like 3 or 4 different versions of the song. I'll play the song from the beginning again. I'll give it to you. You ready? All right, here you guys go. Have a great one, guys.
Shows on what the truck holds on. stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, Gibbs, and rotary motion. Cosmic Twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go! Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, Gibbs, and rotary motion. The Cosmic Twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.